Mr. President, I rise to talk about an amendment that I have filed, amendment number 1189. I'm told that the Democrats will object to my asking that it be pending, but I am asking, I'm going to talk about it, and Mr. President, I hope very much that I will have the opportunity to offer this amendment in a regular order as a right of a senator, I hope, that will be given. And I don't know why it is being objected to, but I would very much like to speak on it, and then I hope that I'm not going to be prohibited from the opportunity to offer it, since I'm here in a timely manner on the floor trying to offer an amendment as we have been asked to do. The amendment that I would hope to call up is amendment number 1189. And it is to try to help those automobile dealers that have been notified, particularly by Chrysler, with a deadline of June the 6th, and June the 9th. And told that they are going to have to shut their doors of those dealerships by June the 9th. They were given 3 weeks' notice. Now, Mr. President, the President's task force on the auto industry has taken unprecedented steps to negotiate with each of the affected stakeholders to bring General Motors and Chrysler closer to sustainable viability. I know that members of this body sincerely appreciate the enormity of their task. However, there are many growing concerns with their actions. The group that has arguably taken the biggest hit by their negotiations is the auto dealers. Auto dealers are some of the biggest and best employers in our nation. In small towns across my state and every state, many of them are the largest employers in their entire counties. Auto dealers run a tough business. They assume a lot of risk. They purchase the vehicle from the manufacturer. Each dealer is forced to move their product in order to make payroll, to cover overhead, to pay property taxes, or close their doors, all of which is no cost to the manufacturer. These are all dealer expenses. Now, while I understand that if an auto dealer is forced to close their doors because the dealer is unable to make a business profitable, of course you can understand that that would be the choice of the dealer and they would be closed. But I don't understand why General Motors or Chrysler would arbitrarily shut down thousands of operating and profitable dealers across our country. The Treasury Department has backpedaled from any involvement in the decisions to shut down auto dealers across the nation. A recent Treasury press release states, as was the case with Chrysler's dealer consolidation plan, the task force was not involved in deciding which dealers or how many dealers were part of GM's announcement. An earlier press release from the Treasury said, the sacrifices by the dealer community alongside those of auto workers, suppliers, creditors, and other Chrysler stakeholders are necessary for this company and the industry to succeed. Now, Mr. President, I don't think that that is any kind of help for our dealers who are taking the risk and the responsibility for all of the costs of their dealership. Before the closing announcements were made, another Treasury press release regarding Chrysler Fiat on April 30 says, it is expected that the terminated dealers will wind down their operations over time and in an orderly manner. However, Chrysler, in their notification to close 789 dealers on May the 14th, last Thursday, has given dealers until June the 9th to wind down. That's just over 3 weeks. 3 weeks. Chrysler determined that an orderly wind down, an orderly manner to sell all of their inventory, sell all of their parts, get rid of all of their special equipment, 3 weeks. My amendment simply states that no funds shall be expended from the Treasury to an auto manufacturer which has notified a dealership that it will be terminated without providing at least 60 days for that dealership to wind down its operations and sell its inventory. 60 days. That's what we're asking for. Now, we're not asking that any decisions be changed. That is not our place to do. But we are saying that with all of the taxpayer dollars that are going into the automobile manufacturers, the roadkill here are the auto dealers, because they have done nothing that would be unbusinesslike. They have taken the risk. They employ people in the community. They pay the taxes in the community. Sometimes they're the largest employer in the community, and yet they are given 3 weeks to close down their operations. If we are going to help anyone in this country without one taxpayer dollar going into it, it should be these auto dealers, by giving them 60 days to have an orderly process to close down their operations. I wish we could go further. I disagree with the decision to arbitrarily close down profitable auto dealers. I just want to give you an example. There's a town in my state called Mineral Wells. In that town of less than 20,000 people is Russell Watley, a Chrysler dealer whose family has owned his dealership for 90 years. It's the oldest dealership in Texas. Russell doesn't sell 1,000 cars a year, but he has been profitable. He actively supports his community. He has actively supported many employees. And what is it going to save Chrysler to close Mr. Watley's profitable dealership in Mineral Wells? I can't even imagine. But it isn't my decision to make. But I'm going to say that I do think Mr. Watley deserves 60 days to have the orderly process that the Treasury itself said they would expect from the auto manufacturers. So I'm worried about Mineral Wells when Mr. Watley's dealership is closed, just like I'm worried about communities all over this country that are going to be arbitrarily closed, and if they have 3 weeks to sell their inventory, what is that going to do to them and to the people who have to go out and find jobs? I don't think it's right, Mr. President, and I think we should pass my amendment. And the reason that I'm offering it on this bill is because this is a bill that is going to go through quickly. And this is a deadline that is coming very fast. And if we can let those dealers know that they're going to have 60 days at least for the orderly processing of their closures, I am told by dealers that this will help them immensely in that process, and it will not cost the taxpayers not one dime. So I hope that we will pass this amendment, and I hope that the majority will allow this to be brought up in the regular order. I was told when I came to the floor that I would have the opportunity to offer this amendment and get into the line for a record vote. I hope that that will be done, because we don't have much time to help these dealers. And with all the money that we are putting into the automobile manufacturers and all the help that we are giving to others affected by that industry, the ones who have been left out are the auto dealers. And I hope that by just giving them 60 days, 2 months, to shut down a business that may have been in place for 25, 30, or 90 years, I think it's the least that we can do in these very troubled times. We're taking some real different positions than we've ever taken as a United States Senate, because these are tough times. Sometimes that's necessary. But it is the least we can do to require fairness to a business that has done nothing to produce cars that won't sell. It has done nothing that have caused any of the financial problems of General Motors and Chrysler. And I think they deserve a break that will not cost the taxpayers a penny. So, Mr. President, I'm going to be here and ask the majority to allow Amendment number 1189 to become pending right after the votes that will occur very shortly. Mr. President, I have another amendment. It's an amendment that I hope will help all of the hospitals in this country that are giving medical care on an emergency basis to illegal immigrants in our country to get some reimbursement from the federal government for those costs. Now, we have had in place funding, it's called Section 1011 funding, for 5 years. I am only trying to extend this program so that all the states that deal with the growing problem of taxpayer dollars, hospitals having to absorb these costs, will be able to recoup some of those costs from the federal government. The program provided over 5 years $200 million to help the hospitals and doctors recoup these costs. It was not 100% reimbursement, I assure you, because in my state of Texas, we had about $600 million in uncompensated care in 1 year, and we were able to obtain $50 million in reimbursement. That was a little bit of help that helped many of these hospitals make it. But these are eligible for any hospital in America, and I hope that we will be able to pass an amendment, hopefully on this bill, to alleviate that situation. I'm told that the Finance Committee is objecting to this amendment because it's in their jurisdiction. You know, I think it is incumbent on the Finance Committee to work with me on this very important issue for all the states in our country, because this is a federal problem, and it should not be put on the local communities to foot the bill for emergency care that they are required by federal law to give, but not get reimbursement from the federal government. So, Mr. President, I hope the Finance Committee will agree to work with me on that one, and I urge the majority to allow Amendment number 1189, which is filed and has no objections that I know of, to allow that to be in the next set of votes. Mr. President, I yield the floor.